In this video, we will take a look at one of the migratory routes taken by the Iberian Hebrews, after being forcibly removed from their homelands, Portugal and Spain. After the Spanish Inquisition, many of the Spanish Jews fled to Portugal, but were only allowed to stay for a specified period of time. Once the time limit expired, if they had not converted to Christianity, Catholicism, they were persecuted, killed or enslaved. This was the beginning of the institution we now call chattel slavery. Their children were taken to Portugal's newly discovered island territory of São Tomé and Thomas. The following are excerpts from the book The Jews of Spain and Portugal, pages 322 and 323, describing the horrific scene. The Castilian Jews, who from poverty or any other cause had not departed at the limited time the king ordered, should be taken for slaves according to the terms of their entrance, and distributed them to whoever asked for them. His inhumanity did not cease here. He tore their young children from them and had them baptized. Being at the time desirous of peopling his newly discovered acquisition on the coast of Africa, the island of St. Thomas, São Tomé, he sent them to it with the new governor, Álvaro de Cominha, so that by being separated from their parents and marrying people in the island, they might become good Christians. As time went on, this persecution of the Iberian Jews expanded to Portugal's other colonies in West Africa, as described in the Critical Review or Annals of Literature, Vol 57, pages 140 and 141. King John II in 1492 expelled all the Jews to the island of St. Thomas, São Tomé, which had been discovered in 1471, and to other Portuguese settlements on the continent of Africa. And from these banished Jews, the Black Portuguese, as they are called, and the Jews in Loango, who are despised even by the very Negroes, are descended. This is a very telling account of how enslaved Jews were spread throughout the west coast of Africa. This video is about one such group which maintained much of its cultural heritage, the Ibo Tribe from the slave coast of West Africa. The Ibo tribe, descended from Iberian Jews, were despised by the local indigenous tribes from the outset. Though similar in visage to some of the locals, these Hebrews had their own culture, laws, and customs. The local tribes became envious and jealous of their westernized mannerisms, which made the Jews targets from the outset. History, it seems, is not without a sense of irony. This ire from the local natives made Ibo the prime target of the Transatlantic Slave Trade. But it doesn't end there. Even up until fairly recently, the Ibo were under the sword of oppression from their neighbors in Nigeria. The Nigerian Civil War, also known as the Biafran War, was fought between Nigeria and the Republic of Biafra, a secessionist state which had declared its independence from Nigeria in 1967. Nigeria was led by General Yakubu Gowon, and Biafra by Lieutenant Colonel Chukwuemeka Emeka Odumegwu Ojukwu. The conflict resulted from political, ethnic, cultural, and religious tensions which preceded the United Kingdom's formal decolonization of Nigeria from 1960 to 1963. Immediate causes of the war in 1966 included a military coup, a counter-coup, and anti-Igbo pogroms in the northern region. The pogroms and the exodus of surviving Igbos from the northern region to the Igbo homelands in the eastern region led the leadership of the eastern region, whose population was two-thirds Igbo, to conclude that the Nigerian federal government would not protect them and that they must protect themselves in an independent Biafra. Within a year, Nigerian government troops surrounded Biafra and captured coastal oil facilities and the city of Port Harcourt. A blockade was imposed as a deliberate policy during the ensuing stalemate, which led to the mass starvation of Biafran civilians. During the 2.5 years of the war, there were about 100,000 overall military casualties, while between 500,000 and 2 million Biafran civilians died of starvation. The following are excerpts from the U.S. Department of State Archives, Foreign Relations, 1969 to 1976, Volume E5, Documents on Africa, 1969 to 1972. Memorandum for the President from Henry A. Kissinger, subject U.S. options in Biafra relief, dated Tuesday, January 28, 1969. Biafra, 3,000 square miles, 4 to 6 million people. Colonel Ojukwu, 35, British-trained erstwhile playboy, presides over the popular support and military morale of a people convinced that defeat means extinction. The Ibos are the wandering Jews of West Africa, gifted, aggressive, westernized, at best, envied and resented, but mostly despised by the mass of their neighbors in the Federation. They have fought well by African standards against heavy odds. Their cynical public relations use of the starvation has been brilliant. As you can see, Henry Kissinger was well aware of the Ibo's Hebrew identity.
Join me as I dive into the fascinating mystery of whether Iberian Jews are hiding in plain sight as the Ibo tribe in Africa. The idea that a group of people could be concealing their identity in plain sight is both intriguing and complex. It suggests a story of survival, adaptation, and perhaps a bit of secrecy. The Ibo tribe, living in the heart of Africa, presents an interesting case, especially when we consider the vast and often intertwined histories of different cultures. Exploring such a premise comes with its set of challenges. Identities can be fluid, cultural heritage is often a mix of numerous influences, and historical narratives can sometimes obscure more than they reveal. This makes tracing the origins and connections between seemingly disparate groups a daunting task. The story of the Ibo tribe and its potential links to Iberian Jews isn't straightforward. It involves delving into centuries-old migration patterns, understanding the socio-political climates of different eras, and piecing together cultural practices that have been passed down through generations. Let's consider the rich history of Iberian Jews. Their story is one of prosperity, persecution, and migration. Many were forced to flee Iberia during the Inquisition, leading to diaspora communities across the globe. Some migrated to North Africa, the Americas, and other parts of Europe, adapting to new cultures while trying to preserve their heritage. The cultural elements that Iberian Jews carried with them are fascinating. From traditions and language to culinary practices, these elements serve as clues to understanding potential connections with other communities. One compelling piece of evidence that often surfaces in discussions about the Ibo tribe and its possible connections to Iberian Jews involves a shared tradition or custom. For instance, certain practices related to marriage, initiation rites, or even culinary traditions show striking similarities between the two groups. The story of a particular community or individual that bridges the two cultures can be a powerful testament to these connections. Personal stories of identity, belonging, and the quest for roots can shed light on the human side of such historical and cultural mysteries. The cultural practices and traditions of the Ibo tribe also provide significant insights. Their societal structure, customs, and even their language may hold hints of a connection to Iberian Jews. In examining these connections, it becomes clear that understanding cultural identities and histories is crucial. Not only does it help in unraveling the mysteries of the past, but it also fosters a deeper appreciation for the rich tapestry of human culture. If you enjoyed this dive into the potential connections between Iberian Jews and the Ibo tribe, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. For more videos exploring cultural histories and migrations, consider checking out our channel.